Hi guys, welcome back to the episode 5 of the Diggin podcast. It's been a while, but we have two very special guests to finish off the season. We're joined by our first team manager David Dempsey and assistant manager Chris Stammers. Thank you for both giving up your time today.
Yeah, Simon and Garfunkel, all the notes, Anton Deck, Dick and Dom, now Dave Dempsey and Chris Stammers. Been at Ashton Town, Widnes, Clitheroe, and now Burscough. Stammers being the creator of the enigmatic phrase "Diggin," which was the theme of the podcast from the beginning. But if you can take us back, how did the pair of you meet and how did that come about?
Met when I was 16. I was a player in the youth setup. In the youth setup here at Burscough, and then obviously Stan was working with Derek Goulding within the first team at the time. I was playing for the youth and the resis. Stan, you come in as a reserve team manager, didn't you, from the first team?
I was doing both jobs for at the time.
Yeah, so we've known each other for what, 16, 26, 30, yeah, best part of 22 years.
Good man.
I had hair then as well. That's what it's done to me.
Yeah. No, so Stan was looking back at that now. Do you see any similarities between the Burscough that you met Dave in and the Burscough that you've taken on now as between you? Answer of no is perfectly acceptable as well.
I think the potential of what he's built from Christmas, there's definitely potential to be there. That they were that group really that Derek inherited was FA Trophy team, and then he obviously got a lot of the young lads in from his youth team that he's had, the likes of Andy Barlow, John Bloch, who else did he have in there? Steelsey, Dempsey played with him, Dempsey, and then he added to that with young players, Liam Blakeman, Martin Crowder, and then he had Matty Parry and that. So there's definitely potential. I can see the way we're playing now, what we're trying to play now, and how they played. There are similarities getting there, yeah, definitely.
Oh, happy days. I was going to say, so what, you've got that, and then what brought you together as a management duo? I'm assuming there'd be a bit of time between, and then, you know, what brought you together? Was it just chance, or was
No.
it?
So I was at Ashton Town. It was my first job. Was like a player. Well, I was a manager, but I was still trying to play at the time.
I know how that feels.
I did. Yeah, it's not nice. I did a full season with Mouse, who's at FC St Helens now, as me coach, and Biggs, who's at Widnes. And then in the summer, Mouse moved on, and I needed somebody to come in and do the sessions, because as much as I enjoy the coaching side of it, I feel like it's important to sort of step back and have a coach who you can trust. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting Stam to come in. I thought, I was tied up elsewhere, and obviously I always associated Stam with working higher and in the full-time game and things like that, and it was sort of a stab in the dark. But I messaged him, just touched base with him, and said, are you open to a chat? We met at the pub, didn't we? We had a glass of red wine, and we sat down, and I opened the discussions with him, and he'd come out with his pad and his pen, and he was writing formations out and saying how he'd play, and I just thought, this brings back so many memories. But to be honest, he knows what I think of him, but it is genuinely like the best decision I've ever made in football. You need someone who you can trust. When you're not there, when you are there, to bounce off, to do, to be successful and do things right. I think it's a second manager for me. It's not, superiority or anything like that. I just look at us as an equal pair. Labels and manager and assistant manager mean nothing to me. It's about having someone at the side who you enjoy working with and that you trust wholeheartedly. Yeah. And to be honest, when he come into Ashton, it was a bit of it was completely different to how we'd done things the first year round. And I just stepped back and I thought, wow, like this is brilliant. And we did really well, didn't we, at smashed in that first year.
Yeah, did well.
I obviously moved on to Atherton Coles with Brad Cook, and Stam stayed with Belly and with Biggs, and then the moment I went back into management after my short period as an assistant and a coach at Coles, it was an absolute no-brainer to tie up again.
So what's changed over time from that sort of Ash? Has there been anything do you feel that's still very much a similar setup to what you had, or has there been any sort of, have you adapted or?
I would say I'm calmer. I think you get. I think.
Go on then, Stam, you sure?
Yeah. So when I managed him, we can't tell stories about that. And even Kirky, when I had Kirky and Burscough and stuff. I mean, the day I resigned at Burscough, Kirky sat in the change rooms and watched me take my tracksuit off and throw it at the kit man and walk out. So
measured approach.
I won't talk Kettering away for Clitheroe.
No,
Move on from that.
I think centre-halves against the window and stuff. But no, I'd say I've calmed down. I think you do is you get experienced. I just, like he says, I think what Dempsey does really well is the recruitment he brings in. As I say, as a coach, you can only work with what's given to you as a coach. And whatever I put on, we'll discuss it, and if it's what he wants. But as I say, I think if he doesn't bring the right players in, then you can't do the job to the best of your ability. I think that's the best way of saying it, and I think probably highlighted more so with how the season finished, with what we sat down and obviously he made the decision at Christmas. He stated how he felt at the presentation evening, and I think what he brought in and how that group's come together and how they finished the season says it all. That if you've got the right players, you can get the results. So hopefully we can kick on from that. But yeah, I think like he says, I think we're not the same.
No.
I think that's the important bit as well. I think if you've got two people that are saying, I mean, I've said it, probably one of the biggest reasons why I've probably not gone where he said in football is because I'm not a yes man. So if I disagree with him, he knows that I'll disagree with him.
Yeah.
I'll say my point. And it's the same when I work with Derek. When I've been an assistant, I won't agree with people. And I think for a manager, I've managed. I haven't had that. I've never had that when I managed. I've only had a short time managing. I wouldn't want to go back into it again. But when I had that, I didn't have people that would disagree with me. It was always yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's right because it's not your decision. I mean, when he's away, even though I've got you there, or when I've had Ryan there, when Ryan coming to help us, it's tough. It's tough when you're managing because you've got to make them decisions.
I think that is why it works so well, though, to be fair, because like you said, and it's absolutely bang on. We are different people, and we probably, go about our work slightly differently. And there's team selections, there's tactics, there's shaping games, there's substitutions, there's all sorts of different things that we discuss. And to be honest, it's probably a 50-50 split. If I turn around to him and say, we need to go to a 4-3-3 or change to a 3-5-2, or we need to bring him off, he'll go, have you not thought about that, or have you thought about this? And sometimes, a lot of the time, I'll step back and I'll look at it and I'll give myself a minute and I'll think what he's saying, because obviously I trust him.
Yeah.
If I didn't, I wouldn't
Yeah, you need
speak to him as
contrast.
often as I do.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of decisions in games and, even team selection that, come from Stan. I'm the one delivering it, but
So you're to blame then. As a few lads who want to have a go.
well, no, it is. It's good. It's important, and like you said, we are different, but it's a good combination. And I feel like, if you're saying what's changed from your initial question, what's changed from when we first met to now, I'm a hell of a lot more experienced as a manager. When he started working with me, I was probably 7 or 8 months in, and young and wet behind the ears and naive, and now I'm a lot more experienced, and a lot of it is because of the people you work around. So.
No, it is nice to see you've got a brilliant partnership, to be fair. Like you say, you are different, but it clearly works, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think just on that point, I think people go on about coaches going into management. They're separate identities for me.
Yeah.
They're completely separate identities. I do it at work every day, coaching and you're managing kids and that. But I think on this, I think you've got to have. I don't think you can do everything.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think you can physically do everything, and I think you've again as a manager has to delegate as well.
Yeah.
Good managers delegate, and if they like you stating, which is nice to hear that you trust people around you. You know what you're going to get. It's when it doesn't work. At the end of the day, it's not the coach, goes back to the manager then. So I think that's an important thing as well. We know our roles, even though he's sitting here and saying it's 50-50. My role is to come down here Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday if we're not training, and make sure that the sessions are ready for what we're going into on game day. And again, his job then is to make sure that he's putting out the best 11 for that game on the day, on what we've worked on.
Absolutely.
We can all say it's been a whirlwind of a season. If you had to sum up this season in one word, what would it be? I'll go with you first, Demps.
Coronation Street.
That's two.
I was just about to say, yeah.
So popular.
That's another two. I'll let you go with dramatic.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
A little bit of time in me thesaurus in my brain.
I don't know. Like you say, one word's tough. I'd say a fairy tale because I think it's finished happily ever after at the end. Really,
Yeah.
I think. You like that? I like that one. That one's going to be on the. I see that one being over the group.
Can we do edits?
No.
No, that's staying in.
I'm just thinking, can we find people after the end of the season?
I think it's hard to put it in a word because I think from where we were, it's like I wouldn't even say the start. I think it was that sort of middle part of the season and to where we finished. I think it's finished on a real high.
It has. It really has.
So could be like Nightmare on Elm Street or something.
Nice, right.
All them poor lads
Yeah.
that you got rid of.
Saving Private Ryan. So what's been your most memorable game this season then?
I'm not going to lie in front of everyone who watches this.
All 13 of them are going to be really annoyed with that.
On the way in, and it took me a while to sort of think because a lot of the wins we've had have been 2-1s, 1-0s. We've won ugly and we've played really well in games and not managed to score as many goals as we'd like. But the game for me that after thinking about it is West Didsbury at home, 3-1 win. We'd had the meeting, which I'm pretty sure will come up in this podcast at some point. But we had the meeting the week before. I think we played Earlham away and won. Then we had Bury at home and lost. And the Earlham win was great. The Bury defeat, we were poor. And then the West Didsbury game was a really tough game to bounce back from Bury. And I remember us being really good that night and scored 3 goals, which is always nice against a team who are in the playoffs. So you can look at that. I feel like if we'd have lost that game, it could have been a catalyst for us to roll back into the rot that we were in, but we never. And we saw off a very good side at home. So yeah, I'd probably say that game.
Yeah, no, it was certainly a good performance, especially when you look at the games we had at the start of the season where we played them.
Yeah.
Go on, Stan. What was your most memorable game for the year?
I was just saying, it's like you say, it's a tough question. I'm just speaking to Dempsey about it then. For me, I would say Squires Gate here.
Second game.
Well, it was the
4-2.
Yeah, we played Longridge, hadn't we? We played Longridge. Yeah. And then obviously Dempsey's away, so just changed the shape. We went with a bit of a gamble as such. We hadn't worked on it, and it paid off because I think it was 4-2. And could have been a lot more. And I think that when I looked at it, when you're saying about a game, we went to West Didsbury in the FA Cup the next on the Saturday. And first half and then I changed the shape to what we played against Squires Gate, and we absolutely battered them. And then last kick of the game we lost. So yeah, I think Squires Gate's the one that sort of sits in my head in the games I've had to manage while David's been away on his jollies. It was either that or the FC St Helens game away.
When Dave was serving the
Again.
suspension.
That was it.
Yeah, it's a little bit,
You must just love me now.
Because I think that was on the back of
That's a draw.
but I think we lost that before. So I'll go Squires Gate.
Yeah. So this is my little wild card for this one. If you... don't look so shocked. If you had to liken our season to a brand of lager, what would it be and why?
Jesus.
And I can go first if you want.
Go on then.
So I would go with a cold crisp Estrella Dam, which is available in the 1896 lounge. No, but seriously, I would probably go with Star of Brahman, mid-range, finish as well, but ultimately it takes a little bit to get going because it's a bit of a strong taste.
Do you know what? I was going to say like a Herdinger or something like that. It's like really...
Is that like an Aldi version of Herdinger?
Herdinger, is it? Like really horrible German wheaty beer that tastes awful to start with, but then, yeah, as you sink it, it gets a bit tastier.
Yeah.
Massive
finishes.
Yeah. Go on then, Stam.
Or a random question, by the way.
Hey, well, you know, just another insight into what goes on in my brain.
Oh, yeah. Mine was mad until I've met you.
Just agree with mine, Stam.
Yeah, I think I'll go with the Herdinger. Estrella Dam.
See, that's why we work well together.
Yeah.
We discussed that before. It took a minute to tell me. And then, we'll go with that one. Herdinger. Yeah. Thanks for that, Jürgen Dempsey there. Was that a clap? That's what clap did.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, God. Are you sure you want to do that then?
It's very tasty.
Okay, off the field, what's been the most pleasing part of the season?
For me, I feel like, do you know what? I'll be dead honest with this. I feel like at the start of the season, there was a lot of people at the club off the field that were just here. And it's not aimed at anyone in particular. I know people have left and moved on and come back and whatnot. I feel like what we've got now as a committee and as a club and the feel about the place, obviously the work that Paul's done, you've got people here, you know, volunteering all week, getting stands right, fixing dugouts, sorting the pitch, all that sort of good stuff. The bar has come on loads, the planning permit, like everything we've asked for this year, really, the club have delivered. But I feel like now we've got a balance between, we've got a vision, we know where we want to go as a club off the pitch. You can see it now. You can see the changes about the place, and we've got people who are in roles that are actually doing the jobs. As hard as it's been for us with the football side of things, it must have been difficult for Paul as well as a chairman. There's no hiding from that. But what Paul's done is he's just stayed focused, and credit to him, he's not flapped under any pressure. He's just got on with his job, and if people want to come and go, people can come and go, and he just carries on as he is. So yeah, I'd say from the start of the season and last season to now, I feel like everything's in place. Don't get me wrong, there's always things that we can improve on, but being close to the off the field stuff, it's miles better now.
I think relationships have been built as well, haven't they? You know, 100%. So everyone understands each other. Oh, it's nice to say.
Go on. So if you're looking at singular moments, I'm going to go on or off the field. What's been the most enjoyable moment?
For me, obviously I was with Zoe's question as well to Dems. I think the Isle of Man game here, for the amount of fans we had that day and the atmosphere that come through. You know, if it can grow, you know, that was the, you know, I mean, that would probably be something on your first question before about similarities about, you know, not so much just the playing but the club. You know, I can remember obviously the pictures up here of the trophy and that, like, you know, you were getting 200-300 people in the league games at the old Victoria Park there, and to see that here against the Isle of Man was brilliant. And I think the introduction of the growth of the youth setup now, what Kev's done, I think it's brilliant. I think, you know, it's hopefully we're getting a new fan that's coming through the gate with the kids, and hopefully that then it just keeps growing and we get more and more people through the gate, because again, reality is, you know, it's a village team. I know it's a town, and probably in some people's eyes the amount of houses, but it is a village. So you know, it's just trying to get the support of people within the village now to come through. And as I say, there's that many new houses, there's probably a lot of people out there. So hopefully we can start attracting them, and again through pre-season and that, and the links that Kev's throwing up with the kids, I think hopefully we can grow on that.
Yeah, definitely.
So looking at a couple of highlights, I wanted to pick out, or points that I think are worth it, and I think definitely we can dovetail into this one. The Friday night game against Stockport Town, I thought was a brilliant one. I think it's a better advertisement of the club than perhaps the Bury game or the Isle of Man game, because we got nearly 400 fans in on junior sign-up day. Just wanted to ask you what you thought about that, if we could manage to get a few more games like that, would that be a motivation for the lads and yourselves?
That was the first time since being here that we walked out of the dugout before we'd even set the warm-up up, and there was an atmosphere, and there was people in the ground, and it felt like a match day. That's so important, by the way, for every player and manager. It gives you, you know, it is, I know it's an old cliche, but it is like a 12th man. It gets the players ready. You look at the Bury game that we had in the Raw out of the stadium in front of 9,000 when they were going onto the pitch, the Bury players, they must have felt so good about themselves. But you know, it's not 9,000, it's not Bury, it's Burscough in front of 3 and 4, 500 or whatever it was. But it felt like a proper football night. That it was obviously unfortunate that we got beaten the last kick of the game. If I remember rightly. And like he just said, that's absolute credit to Kev for doing what he does. He is one of them that is just top draw. Something he's doing, he does it, and he goes about his business. He doesn't sing it from the top of the tree. He just does it, gets on with it, and he's grown that youth club so well. You come down to competitions and all the kids are in the same kits. It's uniformed.
Yeah, it's great to see, isn't it? Yeah.
You know, there's hundreds of them. Now for me as a club, it's how we can tap into that and get them here on a match day and get them supporting. No,
definitely. Next one is going to be possibly not a nice thing to talk about, but is worth mentioning. So we had a run September, October, November where we won 1 game in 10. Obviously from there on, the season changed. Can you just take me into what your thoughts were in that moment, and how you were looking about how to go about enacting a change at that time?
Your song.
It was lonely. It was horrible. The thing is with that, those moments in the season for a lot of managers can be a nail in the coffin. Fact. And that's what I said in the presentation night. There's genuinely, let's be honest, there's not many chairmen and many clubs, 1 win in 10, where you at the start of the season, after an half decent end to the season previous, everyone's in good spirits. To see us drop and drop with the players we had as well, there was sort of no excuse. And when I say I had sleepless nights, I was genuinely racking my brains on the phone to him all the time. I was getting fed up, I was getting frustrated, I was getting annoyed, I was scratching my head. And what I did was I questioned myself first and foremost before anyone else. And I know he does too. That's what we do. You know, that's you take it on your shoulders. He'll be questioning, is it my sessions? Is it me before the game speech? Am I communicating with the players right? Is it team selection from my point of view? Am I managing the lads right? Is it the environment? Is it the club? Is it cursed? Everything goes through your mind. And as I said in the presentation, after the Muggle game, that was genuinely hand on heart the lowest I've been in football in my life. And I've been through that, and I'll never get there again. Never let it happen again. And I basically rang Paul on the Wednesday, and there was Paul and Neil. They both dialed into the call. And I just said, what do you want to do? Because for as good as Paul is, he's a really nice man, and he is very, very loyal, and he doesn't want to let people down. And I felt like he was doing us a favour, having us about. A lot of chairmen would have been a lot more ruthless and changed. The conversation went really, really well, and basically, as I said, he said, he was honest, and he went, I feel like you've gone away from how you were when you first come into the club. we inherited a group of players here that, no disrespect to the lads that were here, we're not cut out for this level of football. And the first session we had, I looked at him and I was like, wow, like, what have we done? And then, you know, you bring the likes like Alex McMillan, Lloyd Dean, Steve Rigby, Kirky, and we tried to fill it with experience, and it worked. I looked at it and I just thought there was players here not for the right reasons. There was players here to pick up a bit of cash. There was players here for the social aspects of the club. And I just looked through the group and I had no belief in what I was putting out on the pitch. And I also didn't think the players were buying into it as well. And I said like I said, I keep going back to the presentation speech, but I asked the lads to show their hands if they were here during that period. And what was it, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
You know, there's a squad of, it's not a squad of 16, it's a squad of 20, by the way.
Yeah.
And look, there's players there that I've worked with higher that I think the world of, that I had to have that conversation with and just say we're gonna look elsewhere and move in a different direction. But what I'm most proud of from my point of view was that recruitment phase, and that period of recruitment, you know, to bring in Cush, player, Sam Sheen, player, Sam Turner, class, you know, Jay Salkeld, brilliant. Callum Laird, I think, was here, but it just come through the door. You know, Mason's a young kid from Chester. He's come in. That could have gone horribly wrong. He could have been knocked out and not. He's been ridiculous since he's come in. But what the players have done, they've not just come in for a game of footy. They've come in with a belief, and they've come in with. I think you said it, didn't you? Culture. What was it?
It's called culture drivers.
Culture drivers. Yeah, they've come in and they've grabbed the dressing room and they've took on board what I'm saying, and every minute of his sessions has been taken on. And to be honest, with a good coach, quality coach, and good players, you get results. And I just feel like prior to that change, which, you know, we can all be proud of, and we've had a really good run. I think, was it 5th in the league would have finished if we'd have gone from the 1st of December, or 6th, something like that. We were really close to the playoffs. That's not a one-off. That's not 2 or 3 games. That's over 23 games of football, and we're right up there. So yeah, it was horrible. It was hard, but it's something that I'll always learn lessons from. And you'll have periods as a manager that you can go back to and think, what did I do? What did I do wrong? So many lessons learned, but we've come off the back of it, haven't we? And
yeah, well,
really well.
I've had it. I had it when I was at AFC. I went 10 games and never won a game at AFC Liverpool. Yeah, you go into places that you don't really want to go into, because, like he says, you just totally question yourself. And then you get that win, and then all of a sudden everything's lifted. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we've been lucky, to be fair. Dempsey's right when he's saying we have been lucky, because many a chairman would have just gone. They could have just got rid of us, and then, but then, you know, where the club were at the time, it's another total rebuild, and then so it could have gone either way. So yeah, like as he says, I said it before, I think the recruitment and what he brought in has made a big difference.
I think for me on that as well, obviously I'll not spend much longer on this question, but a lot of clubs and chairmen should look at that this season and what Paul's done, because there's a lot of good managers out there, and non-league's tough. You know, it's really, really tough to manage. You've got lads in work, lads injured, lads suspended, lads can't make it because of family commitments, and each week you're churning through a different 11.
But it's not a part-time job, though.
It's not. It's a full-time job.
But it's a full-time job as a manager, I think.
Yeah, but with part-time players.
Yeah.
But a lot of clubs would have been quick to go, you know, for us, we'll bring someone else in. And, you know, I might be wrong in saying it, but we're as good as anyone out there. So to bring in another manager, all they've done is just brought in a new group of lads. We've had to change the culture. We've already got the relationships with the club. So, you know, I'm absolutely made up that it's finished as well as it has, because it's, you know, it could be a little bit of a statement for the next year, but also a statement for the clubs to look at having a trust and belief in a manager that you've originally appointed. You appointed them for a reason to start with, so just keep at it.
And I can vouch for that, because obviously at the time when you were thinking of walking and you had that chat with Paul, like you said to yourself, you don't become rubbish overnight. We knew that. We knew that you'd been successful in the past, and for us it was also about stability, because we've not had that for the past few years, and we knew that was going to grow, and you've definitely done that for sure.
It's the thing though, isn't it, with football? It's like you say, it's not you're lucky if you get a long term. It's funny, like you're obviously working at Marine Young, he's retired, got into a new role. When they said how long he'd been there, I was shocked, but 7 years at a club with non-leagues unheard of, really, isn't it? So I think what people forget too, it's a project.
Yeah.
It's a project. It's not. I mean, I look at where we were, like you said, when we first come in, where we finished that season, and we kept them up, which was part of that was the agenda, wasn't it? To stay up. I look at where we finished this year. We've jumped that many places. The lads have met targets that've been set at them.
Yeah.
We're trying to look at ways and means to motivate them, because obviously we were safe. So yeah, it's it is. Jobs aren't long. There's no longevity in it as a manager, I don't think. But we've been, like he says, he's been lucky, because as I say, a lot of them it'll just be out the door and get someone else in, and then it becomes a revolving door.
Yeah.
And again, the environment, I think it spoils the environment, the culture, and that goes.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously touched on it, but that sort of last period, so we won 8 games in 10, basically became the king of the 2-1, which was, there's some worse scorelines out there. Do you think there's anything in particular, apart from recruitment, in the last 8 to 10 games? You mentioned motivation. Was there something that just, it's a simple thing in football to just win a couple and, momentum builds, but was there anything you think that sort of sparks it after maybe 1 or 2 wins?
Me to go. Buy-in. Just a buy-in from the players. Like he's just said, we were safe, we were setting targets, and I've been a player where you're mid-table and the manager's going, it's so important to get to 55 points or 60 points. I really want us to finish 10th. Not many players look at that as like a real driver to go and win games. They don't see, they don't see how important progression is to managers. But to be fair to the players and to you and Stam and all the other coaches and myself, we've set a target and absolutely smashed the back doors of it, to be fair.
Easy, big fella.
Yeah, we've done really well with it, and I just feel like when it's easy when you're winning games. Football's so simple when you're winning games. You go out on the pitch, you get the rub of the green, you get a refereeing decision that doesn't always go for you. But yeah, I just think the buy-in from the lads has been really, really good. It's a top group.
No, it
is. Yeah, definitely.
I think Kirky goes under the radar a lot as well. I think Kirky's been, he's obviously Dempsey's brought him in as part of the staff. I think I would say watching him sort of the last few games, he started to take that. I wouldn't say serious, because it's the wrong way, because he's never serious. But he started to have an input in training. He's having inputs in warm-ups. No doubt he's having inputs with him when they're going home together, and then
top steady on, big man.
But I think he's been a big part of it as well. I do, because they all laugh at me, but I'm always on about standards, and Kirky's the same. He's like you say, he buys into it. I'll say to him, and he's, rather than it be me all the time, he's saying it now. You see it in the training. I think the training, we've decided the way to play, and we've stuck by it in the training sessions. And again, as he says, when you're winning, lads want to get to training, and there's a confidence, and it's, and some of the sessions we've watched have been like unbelievable.
Yeah, no, agreed.
I mean, I watch when we go into games and that, I think, imagine you playing someone today and you just pop them off the park, and that's probably our next challenge, I would think, for the two of us, just to get them playing the way they train. That's the big thing now.
No, definitely. So, looking forward now, sort of like pre-season's been very much sort of finalised or thereabouts, certainly. Is there anything you're particularly looking at in those games? Anything you're looking as sort of a key part of them, or any objectives early doors? Aside from
goals.
Goals.
being clinical, being better in the 18-yard box, getting into the 18-yard box, just being more ruthless in and around the areas. I think defensively, midfield and defence at the minute, and again, it's not aimed at the strikers because midfielders have got to chip in. But I think we've just got to. I think it'll alleviate that. It'll take more pressure off the back four, having to defend. Like you say, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. They're always in that back of your mind. Whereas at Christmas, before Christmas, if it was 2-1, you'd be looking at each other thinking we're either going to draw this or lose this today. Where you didn't have that at the end of these, like they stuck by. So yeah, I mean, Dempsey might say something else, but I think definitely taking our chances. We create a lot.
I do agree. We create a hell of a lot of chances in games. To be fair, and even when we're not playing great, we still have numerous chances to score. And I do agree that the thing I'm most looking forward to pre-season is
running.
Yeah, there's a squad of players there. There's a squad of players there currently that I'm hoping to retain. You know, I've got a very good feeling that we will retain 90-95% of the group. But there's players that haven't had probably a fair crack of the whip because we've been winning games. But there's lads that have been turning up Tuesday, Thursday, coming on for 20 minutes on a Saturday, missing out on the squad sometimes, that are genuinely good enough to start. And I feel like there's 3 or 4 players within our group that even without recruitment, with a good pre-season in them, and again buying in and being part of that group, that can go and get that shirt for the 1 to 11. You know, you've got likes of Josh I, Will Lawson, you know, even like Cogs, Ball, all of those players that Walshy is another one. Walshy started most games and then got injured, and he's come back in and he's had to be patient. But they're all players that, you know, teams would be lucky to have them. So I'm just looking forward to giving them a really, really good, strong pre-season. We've got games booked in that I feel like we've got a good schedule of games, giving every player an ample opportunity to get a 1 to 11 shirt. And players who started last year, you know, players who played week in, week out, and a genuine, I'll say it to the players, but the 14th of June when we start will be a clean slate for every player. So if you know, if lads who've been about it, who were part of the group, you know, they'll have the bit between the teeth to come in and make a difference next year. And I genuinely believe that some of those players that I just mentioned can come into our 11 quite easily, can't they, and do a really good job for us.
So, last one. What's the most important thing to take from the season into pre-season if you're looking to sort of tie momentum through the back end of this? And
form for me. Keep winning. Don't lose that winning mentality. Don't win pre-season games thinking it's just a run out. You know, you want to win games and breed that winning mentality within the group. I feel like we've got that now. You know, with a couple of additions and, like I said, giving everyone a fair crack in pre-season, we can feel like we can start.
Yeah, it sounds stupid because I said it to him when we went to Widnes, where we were at Widnes when we first went. I said, don't look at the league table. When we first went, we were down near the bottom. I said, just look at your form. I said, look at the form. Once the form's right, then the table will start to look better for you. And I think it's highlighted by that Christmas run after Christmas. Like it's, you know, you've seen that league table. I mean, you only have to look at Lower Breck, and to be fair, Bury, what they've achieved, and Ramy, the amount of points that they've got from form, you know, it's unheard of. I think all 3 of them got over 100 points, is that right? But, you know, it's unheard of, but it's down to your form at the end of the day. So yeah, consistency, I think, is the big thing. Consistency, and what Dempsey's saying, their form and consistency, making sure that levels, you know, we're not 8 out of 10 1 week and then we're down like 5 or 6 out of 10. I think we've got to be 6, 7 out of 10 every week, and I think that it'll give us our best place of where we can finish.
The beauty of this pre-season for me is that usually you go into a pre-season and you lose players and you're having to bring in 5, 6, 7 new faces. That's non-league. It's fact, especially in the North West Counties as well. Lads want to move up, they get offers elsewhere, they get more money.
You can throw a blanket over the teams.
It's part and parcel of football, and it's the same teams with the same players. They just keep churning through the same lads. That'll never change. But this year for us, we've had a fantastic second part of the season. that we still want to better. You know, we don't want to be 6 and 6. That's not enough. We want to go and push on again and kick on. And we can start pre-season with everything instilled within the group. So, like we've said, all those buzzwords, the environment, the ethos, the mentality, the behaviours about the place, the application in training, all of those things, every single player at the start of pre-season, minus maybe 2 or 3 new faces, they'll be driving that right from the first session, and it'll set us up well. So I just, like I said, football's a funny old game. Hopefully we can start right that first session. We can have a good first pre-season game, get that winning mentality back in, and have a really good go at it.
I think there's a lot to look forward to, really, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll finish with quick fire, which are very random. There's 5. Stan's face. Right.
Diggin. Diggin.
Number 1, football hero, Stan.
Wow.
Ryan Bowen. Nobody's asked me that, but hey, it's mine.
A couple, actually. Guardiola was as a player, and obviously a coach, and Gascoigne, as I was like my main man when I was playing. Yeah, Gascoigne.
Dems?
Polo.
If you had to change your first name, what would it be?
Wow.
I know, it is random.
Random question.
Hey, ChatGPT's got a lot to say for itself here, hasn't
I
it?
love it.
Go on, I'll let you go first on that one. I'm not going first on that one. Mine would be Richard. Richard. Or as we know in short, Ricky. Come on, Dempsey. What was if you had a...
Derek.
Wow.
Christ, no.
That's your new name.
Derek Dempsey.
Hey, you won't need any polos or stitching, though, will you?
Does that go with the chant, there's only one Derek Dempsey?
Yeah, there's enough syllables, yeah.
Used to be. And now it's on.
Number 3, what dish do you cook best?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you're supposed to be quite a chef, aren't you?
Jordan
Ramsay, you can tell.
Barbecues.
Barbecues, that's not a dish.
Do a cracking barbecue. Sunday dinners, I do a good Sunday dinner as well.
Stan?
Yeah, Sunday roast was, I'd say Sunday roast or Sunday roast.
What meat, though?
Lamb.
Yeah, good answer.
Beef and gammon mixture. A bit of both.
And a bit of pork at the end of the night.
God. Number 4, one thing on your bucket list.
Oof, I've done mine. But I want to go back.
To win a league as a manager.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Is it?
Fair enough.
Mine's to
Good
go back
answer.
to the new camp. No, it's been done up. So I'm at my 40th and I can't really remember it. So I'm going to go back and see it. Yeah, new camp. And
May I have anything to do with that, by any chance?
a lot of.
A mighty
£17. Dig in.
A mighty fine Estrella. Available in the 1896 lounge when you know.
1946.
1946.
Right, all right,
Let's
1846.
go to Burnabout. We're not pissing.
Okay, and the last one, funniest member of the team, and that can be coaching staff or the squad.
We'll throw it out there.
Yeah.
Diggin, Bowie.
Yeah, it's got to be Bowie. Bowie when he's had 17
England played Pakistan.
Thanks, gents. Yeah, I do.
You
Yeah.
tease that one up. Do you reckon a lot of lads say that?
No, what we?
It was me that made that question.
Yeah,
first,
no. No, to be fair, I'd dropped Kirky in there. He's had the one. Hamill got a mention as well. You know.
Hamill?
Yeah,
Hamill,
was
yeah.
it Ben that said Hamill?
Yeah, I think it was Ben.
To be
yeah.
honest, Sheeny has me in stitches.
Yeah.
He's very
Just
dry
has to
sense of
look
humour,
in
isn't
and
he?
say one word, and it's hilarious.
Drier than a New Zealand white.
Oh God! Well, thank you both for coming on. Well done for this season. I know it's
I was
been.
waiting for the 5-side team.
Well.
Should we do one?
Should we do a throw? Should we
Okay,
throw a
okay then.
five-side team?
I just thought that was more of a player's question, but feel free.
No, go on. So
Okay,
go on.
first go 5-a-side.
Current. You've got
Should
to
we
agree.
have-
You've got
should we
to
have
agree.
management
You need a joint one.
No, you get yours and I'll pick
No,
mine.
go on, you go first.
All right, go on. Are we doing 2 then?
Yeah.
God, so who's the goalkeeper?
Oh, yeah. After this display in the friendly, Barnsley is struggling 5-side goals, mate, getting down. He'll get down, but he won't get up. Jesus.
I'll go Barnsley.
All right.
I think that's a really fair
I'll
one.
go Barnsley.
Yeah.
I'm going with you, Bo. Yeah.
Oh, cheers, Stam.
And then defender is Dempsey.
He's had this. He's thought of this. I'm waiting.
That's why I wanted
I'm
to
just
Chris.
waiting.
now,
He's been planning this all the way.
Hey, you and goals and that in front of you. There's not many goals getting in there, lad. Go on, Dave. Let you pick your
No,
next
go
one.
on, you go.
No, you've got to pick your next player now. It's like
I'll
you
go
got
with
steal
Towns.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
Um,
Don't leave the last one now because you'll be upset.
I'll go Belly.
Carl.
Oh.
Yeah, Belly. Ian.
No, I'll go Keane. Yeah, Keane Bell. I'll have one defender. I'm going to leave Kirky out.
Oh,
He knows I love him, but I'm going to put Belly in there.
okay, right. So, are you playing with one defender or?
Oh, yeah, just them. I'm just going to get him to lie down and that's it. It's
So
like one of them sleeping policemen. Get over that, you're all the best.
All right, stand up, man. Move on.
Yeah,
Midfield.
who's your midfielder?
Bally.
Hmm?
Yeah, Bally. Bally's Charlie Ball. So that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Bally. Yeah, definitely Bally.
Go on, who's your first midfielder?
Bolly.
Bolly.
5-a-side. Yeah, defo.
Baller.
He should be playing on that ball as lead ball.
Bally.
I'll go first on this one.
Go on then.
I'm going to throw Cush in there.
Right.
I'm seeing on the corner. Sheeny.
Okay.
Right. So
Player,
that's
ball
4. So you both got
One left.
Last one.
one left.
It's a tough one, this.
I'm rushing this, me.
No, you haven't thought about it.
I've not thought about it at all.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to start again. I go Belly centre half. I go H wide. And I'd go.
You got to put it. There's a good job. There's a wall around the pitch. Is it indoor 5-a-side? Because you just keep running
No.
Forest.
I'd go Belly at the back, H wide. I'd probably throw Sam Turner wide just for pace, and then I'd go Bally.
You only play at the soccer dome, mate. You don't need to clip in behind and
Bally
run.
up top. That's what I think.
Right. Go on, Stan. You've obviously got
No,
halfway
Feel
there.
hard about this.
Excuse me. It's either Hammer or Sam Turner, yeah. I'd probably go Hammer. Up top.
Yeah. Right.
No,
5-a-side. That's
Yeah,
5-a-side
there you
done.
go, yeah.
There might be some more arguments about these.
Well-
I think Stammers might chip some goals, but
No chance, mate.
See, that's what we have every Friday night. So we've only picked one player the same there. Even the goalkeeper's different.
Yeah, that's
well,
true,
you
yeah.
know. It's like when
If
people-
only we had another goalie.
Well, you see, nobody's accused me of being a goalkeeper for a while, so cheers, Stan.
But
Yeah.
yeah, thank you both for coming on.
Yeah, no worries.
Well done for this season. I know it's been a roller coaster, but we've ended on a high. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
That's because we dug in.
Yeah. Keep digging in.
No problem.
Thanks, guys.
No, cheers.